new storm system is on the way this week, bringing showers and storms to a lot of the central and eastern United States. You can see those thunderstorms developing Wednesday, Thursday, and into Friday with a severe weather risk already highlighted by the Storm Prediction Center. We'll talk about that system's rainfall and an upcoming cool shot in the near future. All of that right here, so stick around for the rest of the video.
One Nation Weather.
Thanks for joining me here at One Nation Weather. Don't forget to check out WeatherBell link in the description for the maps I use at many times throughout this video. Let's start out with Pivotal Weather and that National Weather Service hazards map here. You can see if you're in any of those purple or pink counties there closer to the Great Lakes region, that's where we've got winter weather advisories and winter storm warnings continuing your Sunday evening into our Monday, early Tuesday as well here over that region. Also some wind advisories in those tan colors. So check weather.gov to see what your latest alerts are behind our last system. You can see the anomalies still left behind it, pulling on off the southeast coast as we go through our Monday afternoon, but it'll be about 5 to 10 degrees below average for this time of the year in the southeast as we go through our Monday time frame there. But you can see back on over the north central U.S., we're going to have 30 to 35 degree above average temperatures there, and the warmth is only going to continue to build as we head throughout this week. That's been the trend over the last month or so with a lot of these big ridging warm-ups here. You can see as we go towards Wednesday afternoon, that circled area there, a lot of places seeing 15 to 30 degree above average temperature anomalies there, so much warmer than average across that region. You can see our next system here. Let's kind of time it on out because it's going to work into that warm environment. First of all, starting up there in the cooler Pacific Northwest with some rainfall, high elevation mountain snow there. Not too much of a concern there. We'll also watch some showers and storms Tuesday night and into our early Wednesday morning over parts of maybe Missouri and Illinois. I'll talk a little bit more about those here in just a second, but overall, this weak system moving through the west, because notice as it moves from the Pacific Northwest all the way through most of the west, it is pretty weak and it's going to take a little while to get its act together. You can see it there with some snow stretching back through parts of Colorado, the Rockies there, as well as into parts of Wyoming. Some heavy rainfall along a warm front there into parts of Nevada, parts of Iowa and northern Missouri as we go towards our Thursday morning. By Thursday afternoon, as that system kind of strengthens, begins to pull on off towards the northeast a little bit, you can see some heavier showers and storms and convection on down there closer to the Arklatex region. Some of that could be severe, as I was just mentioning a little earlier in that intro. And then you can see the system looking to quickly break on up. So never strong for very long here, with some different little pieces of rain through the east, as well as some showers and storms in the south central, and then on over there into the Four Corners region, a little bit of snow and lower elevation rainfall there. So really watching the system kind of degrade quickly, but it probably will leave some pieces of rainfall that'll move through parts of the southeastern United States. And then again, some of that energy still on over there in the Four Corners as we head towards this weekend. But that's a little bit to be determined. What we do know, though, as we go Tuesday night here mostly and into our early Wednesday morning, we're going to be watching a marginal severe weather threat from the Storm Prediction Center, level 1 of 5 there through southeast Kansas, southwest Missouri, as well as parts of northeastern Oklahoma, pretty much into that northern Ozarks region as well there. And then as we go kind of skip Wednesday, head towards Thursday, you can see Thursday night, that's when we're going to have the potential for some pretty gangbuster thunderstorms here over parts of northeast Texas, southeast Oklahoma, and the Arklatex region there, places like Dallas and Waco being included in that 15% zone by the Storm Prediction Center. Severe weather definitely possible there. You can see, again, Tuesday night going into our Wednesday, we'll watch some convection possible on that lightning flash rate graphic here from the European model. Notice, though, you can really see the vertically stacked low pressure system and the associated dry line there as we go late Wednesday evening. Maybe some severe weather along that warm front up there in the Central Plains, and maybe a little bit down that dry line late Wednesday evening, but at this point, I don't foresee any major severe weather really erupting out of anything until we maybe go towards our, again, late Thursday and Thursday evening. Look at those reds and those purples, especially on down there on this line that stretches all the way from the Illinois region on down there to parts of East Texas, but it's mostly in that Arklatex zone, right there where I'm putting this circle down. That's where it looks like the strongest storms will be. Maybe some big segments of storms with hail and wind potential, as well as some isolated tornadoes, if we can get enough low-level shear as well. That's just the changing of those winds kind of in the lower levels of the atmosphere. Then the storms become a little bit more, again, TBD as we head towards the end of this week and into the early weekend time frame, but it does look like we'll continue to see a little bit of a severe weather threat Friday and into Saturday for some spots in the lower Mississippi Valley and southeast. We're looking at dew points here. This is your moisture. Whenever you get them in those yellows, those oranges, those 60s and 70s in the dew points there, like what we're seeing ahead of that dry line Thursday night and into our Friday morning, with those cooler dew points in the 20s and 30s pushing on them from the north and west. Meanwhile, we've got them closer to 70 in places like Dallas, Shreveport, Louisiana, 65 in places like Little Rock, Arkansas. That's very supportive of severe weather Thursday night. So I really think Thursday night's going to be the peak of our event there with severe storms in that Arklatex region. Now, let's do a little bit of an ensemble comparison between the Euro and the GFS. This here's for your Tuesday night threat. You can see, again, showing a little bit of some storms there, again, in that marginal risk zone, maybe as well, including parts of western Illinois, Tuesday night going into Wednesday morning. morning. That's not really a big concern. Maybe some light wind and hail threats coming out of those storms. But again, the big event, this is that severe weather risk as we go towards our Thursday. Notice we've got rainfall on up there stretching over a large chunk of the northern plains and central plains, as well as into the Midwestern region. A lot of that probably sub-severe with just some embedded heavier storms, maybe a low-end flood threat as well. Notice the GFS showing the storms a little later to erupt down there over the Arklatex region, and also trending a little bit more northeast with that convection, the GFS ensembles there, so keep that in mind. Notice the Euro shows kind of more of a front extending from Illinois all the way back on down there to the south central. We looked at that a little bit ago. You can see on down there, though, in the Arklatex, that's where the GFS is pretty much a focal point of more of a low pressure system. And then they actually look a little bit more similar, the Euro and the GFS ensembles here, as we go further in time towards Friday night and into our Saturday morning. So this really shows that there's kind of some areas of certainty and uncertainty here as we go throughout the system, but it does look like some precipitation might even linger around through Saturday and into our Sunday there, especially over parts of the Arklatex on over towards the Carolinas. And again, we'll have to watch that for some severe thunderstorms. Now let's take a look at my ONW severe scale. It goes all the way from 0 to 7. If you're in the white, I'm thinking you're in the clear. Doesn't 100% mean you're in the clear. But overall, if you're in this one zone here, all the way from northeast Oklahoma to western Illinois there on your Tuesday evening and overnight hours, I want you to be prepared for maybe a wind and hail threat, especially through Missouri during that time frame. That was that marginal risk we looked at from the Storm Prediction Center. Again, into Wednesday, there's a warm front up there, so it may be a broad central plains chance for severe weather, maybe extending down the dry line a little bit there towards central Texas as well, with a 1 there. So again, just be monitoring your potential if you're in these light grain zones, especially as we go in towards our Thursday as well. But again, our focal point for severe weather is going to come with that event Thursday evening and overnight, I think, there into parts of southeast Oklahoma, northeast Texas, parts of southern Arkansas, and northern Louisiana. I've even introduced a 3 there into parts of far northeastern Texas. So if you live in Dallas and areas just eastward from there and towards that Texarkana area, that's where I would really be watching out for the highest chance of severe thunderstorms and some explosive ones at that Thursday night. Now, in terms of our total precipitation here, this is the Weather Prediction Center showing us how much rain is expected. Again, this is subject to change, but as we go all the way through this week, and again, the end of the week and really into the early weekend time frame, showing a lot of rainfall on there, stretching from parts of northeast Texas all the way on over to Tennessee and North Georgia. Remember, we've seen some recent systems dumping heavy rain, even though the most recent severe weather event was more of a bust. You can see there are 2 to 4 inches of rain, some locally higher totals in that area, and even on up there towards the Midwest in that swath of heavier rain, some spots picking up 1 to 2 inches, so this could be a flood concern as well. But let's talk about temperatures. You can see as we go towards our Monday afternoon, record highs in the upper Midwest, and you're in the 70s in a lot of that region. Over a lot of the south central plains as well, we're in the 70s too. Look at this as we go towards our Tuesday. Just a lot of south winds, a lot of warm air pumping on up from that Gulf of Mexico, coming out of the country of Mexico there as well. Anything in those yellows and oranges, that's where you're looking at those daytime highs pushing well through the 60s and into the 70s there. Look at this as we go towards our Wednesday. It's going to be pretty downright warm to even hot over parts of Oklahoma and Texas, as we're going to be sitting well into the 80s in a lot of places like Oklahoma City, but especially into Dallas, even parts of south central Texas near 90 degrees. But you can see over in this boxed area that I've got on your screen right here, that's where it's really going to be the warmest throughout this week, with a lot of 70s at least. And notice we've got a lot of upper 70s through the south central corridor Wednesday, Thursday. Then as we go in towards our Friday, you can see that front starting to push towards the southeast a little bit, still leaving some warmer air in the 50s and 60s, more typical of this time of the year. They're in the central United States at that point. But as we head towards, say, the Saturday time frame, still keeping it warmer than average in the southeast, as we're probably still going to have those rain chances along with that front. And then with more time, I think we will actually get a cooler shot to move on in. In fact, let's talk about this. Look at this. I think we're probably going to have some kind of other system on the heels of our one this week, the end of this week and into the weekend. So here we go, Friday and into Saturday. You're watching that cooler air in the west, those 5 to 15 degree below average anomalies. There you go. Saturday evening starting to creep there into parts of western Texas, through especially Arizona and New Mexico, where that precipitation will be ongoing, some of that higher elevation snowfall as well. Look at this, though, as we head into early next week, some kind of system is likely to bring this cooler air in, and it could be a feisty one at that, but it looks like we will get a cooler shot here as we head towards the March 18th through 20th time frame here over a lot of the central and eastern United States. Look at that, a collection of models. This is what ensembles are. You can see As we go towards our Tuesday evening, I mean, that's 10 to 20 degrees below normal over a lot of the southeast United States. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean snow for anyone, but it's definitely a flip in our pattern to where we've got ridging in the west and out cooler than average here in the east. Very much so different from what we've been recently seeing. And it looks like that cooler air could stick around long enough to where maybe if we can keep that, especially in the northern parts of that cool air zone, that's where we could maybe get a snow chance to try and filter on in. So that's, again, very much so in the distant future, so don't get too much of your hopes up on that, but it does look like 6 to 10 day temperature outlook from the Climate Prediction Center showing cooler than average air over the central U.S. before eventually probably heading east from there. You can see a cold front likely stretching there. You can kind of see it from parts of Louisiana on up to New York at that time with dry air on its heels. That's that dry, cool air moving through parts of the plains. So the setup looks good. So again, kind of as we head towards that March 17th, 18th, 19th time frame, that's when it looks like things might really start to turn a little bit cooler for a lot of us. But that's it for this video. Thanks so much for joining me here at One Nation Weather. Please hit that subscribe button for consistent, accurate, and easy to understand forecasts. That's it. Have a good day, everyone.